What if I told you that in just 2 years, one listener went from thinking points were just for flights to flying Emirates First Class, showering at 40,000 feet, staying at the Park Hyatt Maldives, and then flying home in Etihad's The Residence, a literal 3-room apartment in the sky with a private butler? Well, here's the wild part. She didn't do this as a points and miles expert. She doesn't work in travel. She just went down the rabbit hole and never came back. Today's guest is Dr. Kelly Blair, a dentist, longtime show listener, and someone whose story was requested by many in our WhatsApp community chat. This episode is a real-world case study in what's possible when points and miles finally click. If you've ever wondered how far this game can really take you, I promise you, this one is going to blow your mind. Welcome to the Revolutionizing Your Journey podcast. I am your host, DeAndre Coke. Have another fantastic guest for all of you all today. But before we introduce her, I want to give a couple reminders. As always, you can catch all of these episodes in their entirety on YouTube. And for those that are watching these episodes on YouTube, don't forget, every Friday we have our quick hits. That is our up-to-date news in the world of travel and points and miles. And we do have our Boldly Go Travels channel as well, which is our more vlog style video footage, drone footage, hotel reviews, all those different things. And wherever you are listening or watching this, please don't forget to give us a like, subscribe. Would love a 5-star rating and a review. Now, with all of that out the way, I am really excited to introduce someone who's been a long-time listener and has shared some really amazing stories in our WhatsApp community chat. And she's also volunteered to be an admin in our WhatsApp community chat and just a fantastic person, fantastic personality. So Dr. Kelly Blair, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And it's been incredible because how this conversation happened was frankly the people's vote, because you threw some amazing photos in the WhatsApp community chat of some insane redemptions that you've had, and everyone was just like, DeAndre, she needs to be on the show. And so here we are on the show. So Dr. Kelly, let's talk a little bit about yourself. Where are you? Where do you live? What do you do for a living? And how'd you get into the world of points and miles?
Okay. I'm Kelly Blair. I am a dentist. I live in Aledo, which is a little small town right west of Fort Worth. I have my own private general dentistry practice in Fort Worth. It's just Dr. Kelly Blair. Very boring. And I got into points and miles a little bit when my husband and I were dating. I was in San Antonio and he was actually stationed in Fort Lewis, Washington. And so we got a United card. That's kind of how we got in. And then after moving to 3 different states, when we finally got back to Texas, we opened up American Airlines cards. And that's when we really started kind of, in theory, rolling with it. But we took amazing trips with the American Airlines miles. And then I discovered more along the way.
So amazing trips with American Airlines, and that was a little far back. And then I know something had to click, right? Because you've been in the points and miles world a while. And for a lot of people, points and miles is exactly what you just said. It's okay, I've got an airline credit card. I have a hotel credit card. Oh, I've got a Chase or Amex card, and I've got points I used through their portal. When was the moment that you realized that you can do way more with points than just flights with your American Airlines or your United card?
So it was actually at work. A coworker was talking about a trip that she had coming up, and she was talking about booking everything on points. I was like, oh yeah, no, I've used points we've flown to Bora Bora 3 times. We've gone to Paris. We've gone to Italy. We've done all these things. I'm thinking, yeah, she's like, no, it's way more than that. It's like a whole thing. It's travel hacking. She's like, but she had to leave to go pick up her kids. So she was like, just Google it. We didn't really work together very often. She's like, you'll just have to look it up, just Google it. And there's free classes online that you can find. So I was like, okay, bye. And then down the wormhole I went, and I'm a big nerd, like to read, like to study. I get focused on something and then go down that wormhole there. And that's what I started doing. I started doing anything I could find online, Facebook groups, podcasts, everything. And then, yeah, it was over. Within a week, I already had 2 cards opened.
When was the moment that it clicked? Are we talking, because I want to give the listeners some background. Was that 8 years ago, 10 years ago, a year ago for you?
Yeah.
2 years. Okay, so 2 years ago, the skies opened up and the proverbial well of points and miles clicked for you.
Yes. Well, I mean, not fully clicked, but that's when I started opening cards. I started reading everything I could, and I don't sleep much anyway. So we're talking 2 a.m. I'm down the rabbit hole, reading everything I can find. And yeah, I've already opened up a card like the first day. And then, it was pretty quick with my progression. Maybe don't recommend that. Slow your velocity a little bit, but that's okay. And I was trying to figure out how to, a lot of the stuff wasn't making sense of the transferring and alliances, and some of that still doesn't make sense all the time. It's a learning process. I think it's going to be a forever learning process, and things change all the time.
Absolutely. This world, this industry is changing constantly, but it's really cool that it was just 2 years ago. I think it's really important for the listeners to hear that this could be the very first episode they hear because they had the friend that told them to look into it and they found the podcast and they're going down the rabbit hole and they're like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do here. So I think it's really cool to talk through some of these utterly incredible redemptions that you've had in just this 2 year time frame, because it's honestly it's impressive in general. But if it was, oh, you've been a whiz in the points and miles and the transfer and partner game for the last decade, it's a little bit different than, okay, you were in this world 2 years ago, or got into this world to this level 2 years ago, and have had some pretty incredible trips, which we're going to unpack. And so I know 10 years ago, or I should say not 10 years ago, your 10th anniversary.
It was 10 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, it was 10 years. Okay, perfect. So 10 years ago, you did your 10-year anniversary trip to Bora Bora. That was with American Airlines miles, and you thought, hey, that's a big deal.
Yes.
But let's talk about your 20th year anniversary, because that's what happened this year. And that's what we got to see, the holy crap, what did Kelly just book moment.
Yes. So Bora Bora had been on our list for our honeymoon, but I got pregnant, we kept moving, all that. And so Maldives was on our list, but it seemed not unattainable, but it's such a far flight. It's just a lot of moving parts. I didn't even know how to go about it. But I feel like even though Maldives is obviously a crazy aspirational destination, it's somewhat easy to do on points and miles because there's a lot of different ways to get there, a lot of different hotels to stay at. That part, so I was like, let's just do this. Let's try it. We have some points, not as many as we have now, but we have some points, and I'm gonna try to figure this out. So just kind of bear with me. And my husband was like, he's very laid back. He's like, okay, whatever. We can go wherever, do whatever. You plan it, and I'll follow.
So tell us first, because let's unpack this trip. So Maldives, as you mentioned, very aspirational destination. It's a place that I've been to a couple of times now, and both times used different methods of getting there. And it can be a whirlwind, and depending on your schedule, your flexibility, and a lot of things can make it either easier or harder. You can blow a ton of points in getting there, or a lot less if you have the right strategy. And there's some ways that you can really elevate and travel in style. So before we talk about where you stayed, first, what did you fly to get there and how'd you book that?
Well, we flew Emirates, the A380, which I knew I wanted to fly. So before points and miles, it was just about just the destination and trying to get there, usually in business class in comfort, but not to the level of what ended up happening. And when I went down the rabbit hole of points and miles, then I started going, ooh, okay, I want to fly on this airline. Ooh, I want to fly on this airline. Ooh, I want to fly on this product. So just different things started opening up. So I told my husband, I was like, okay, we're going to reposition to DC and then fly to Dubai. And I think we can do a stopover there and then go to Malay. And he was like, I don't really want to go to Dubai. I was like, well, I do. So we'll figure it out. And I was like, I think it's free. I was like, let me figure all this out though. And I wanted to do the A380 because of the onboard bar. And I was hoping that we could upgrade to first class, possibly, and shower in the sky. But as you know, you can usually book, I think, one ticket in first class and one in business. But so we were going to do just business. So since I wanted to do the stopover in Dubai, I think you will have to call. I called at least and to book it. And I didn't transfer any points. I had everything ready to go, ready to hit transfer, but I didn't want to transfer anything in case I was wrong, especially since I'm still pretty new. And so I had called Emirates. They were great. He said he confirmed that, yeah, you can do up to a 3-day stopover for free. and that it was going to be the 276,000 points. So I transferred it right away. He helped me book it. So then we flew to DC on American Airlines and then flew on Emirates. But about 2 months before, even though I know you're not supposed to do this. So again, your mileage may vary. Definitely don't do as I do as everybody else says, I guess. But I transferred an extra 141,000 points over ahead of time, asking for the upgrade, even though I read everything, do it at the counter. But I was just like, you know what? I'll shoot my shot. And if not, we'll use them in the next 3 years for sure before they expire. And I got an email like 3 weeks ahead of time saying that we'd been upgraded.
Nice.
Which I had never read about that happening, but I was like, you know what? It's our 20-year anniversary. Everything's going to go right. And so I already knew we were upgraded. So I was already flying high like 3 weeks ahead of time.
That's absolutely incredible. So your husband, who was anti stop or going to Dubai, when you're like, hey, we're going to have this incredible flight, did the attitude, did the mindset change prior? And then I'm curious, where did you stay for your stopover? When did the mindset shift, or did it ever shift? I assume you had a pretty good time in Dubai.
Oh, no, he loved it. He wants to go back. While we were there, like within like 2 hours of being there, he's like, this is a really cool city. We should come back sometime. And I'm like, seriously? But he's pretty laid back. I do all the planning. He's just kind of, he's the passenger princess and goes along and does whatever. He trusts me. So he was excited. I kept showing him pictures. I wanted it to be a surprise, but I'm not that person that can keep things secret. So I was showing him everything that, it had, and I wasn't fully prepared until we stepped on board. But yes, we were both excited about flying. I was probably more excited about the flying than I was the trip, as sad as that sounds.
No, I believe that 100%, because when you're in this world of points and miles, I mean, it really, okay, we go to some really cool destinations, but we really take advantage of the journey as well. I mean, the journey is absolutely huge and our vacation ideally starts basically from the moment we get to the airport. Maybe not for the positioning flight, but at least for the lounge that we're going to be at or whatever it may be. Like, we're in vacation mode, not when we get to where we're going, but once the journey starts. So I 100% can understand why you are so more excited about the plane, and also because it was super aspirational and really cool flight. So I want you to talk about it in just a second, but the plane was amazing. And of course, you were going to a cool destination as well.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, obviously, I'm excited to celebrate our 20th anniversary. I'm very excited about Maldives. But I feel like we'd already been to Bora Bora, which is very aspirational for a lot of people. We flew business class on Air Tahiti Nui, but Emirates, I mean, you saw, the commercials back in the day with Jennifer Aniston. I'm like, that's not something that's ever going to happen in my lifetime unless I win the lottery, which I don't play, or stock market goes really great, I guess. But that's not my life, and it is my life.
So I'm curious, let's talk through the Emirates First Class experience, and also just for a general amount, do you know roughly what that ticket would have cost if you had paid cash for it, and then what your total of points was? I know you paid to upgrade, and of course you were going all the way through with the stopover in Malé, so that's a really good tidbit for anyone that's wanting to do this. Obviously, it's much more harder now to get Emirates First than it was probably when you booked it, but can you talk through a little bit about the points behind this and the cost, as well as what the Emirates First experience was like?
Yes. So the points were 276,000 for business class from Washington, D.C. to all the way through Malé. And then it was like 140,400 for the upgrade. So whatever that math turns out to be. Usually the math's in my head faster.
Closer to 400,000 roughly. And I assume that's combined for both of you.
Yes, combined for both. So 276 and then the 140-ish. So that, when I priced it out, of course, Emirates is cheaper if you do a round trip. So I did a round trip and then just divided by 2, but it would have been, I think it was $24,000 for both of us.
Insane.
I don't know who pays that. Well, actually, I might know who pays it because I saw a couple other people on the flight, and I don't think that they were points and miles enthusiasts, but not me. Not $24,000 for 13 hours.
Very cool. Now, when you stopped in Dubai, did you use points for your stopover as well? Did you stay anywhere exciting?
I did. So we didn't use points. We actually used the Amex FHR benefits. And so we stayed the first night at the St. Regis Palm because I figured we were going to be a little jet lagged. And so I booked the whole day at the Ara Sky Pool. So it's like the world's tallest, like 360-degree infinity pool. So I booked that. That way we could kind of lounge, sleep, do whatever. It was also attached to the St. Regis Palm. And so the St. Regis, it kind of was fluctuating, but I got it at a low point. It was like $380. And so then with the $200 at the time off, and then $100 resort credits because we just ended up eating dinner at the hotel and then free breakfast. So it was kind of sort of free. And then the next day, we moved to the St. Regis downtown and did the same thing. It was about the same price, FHR benefits.
Very cool. Well, let me ask you this. What was your kind of favorite experience when it comes to Emirates overall? Because there's a lot of layers to that, right? There's flying Emirates First, which is on an incredible level. It's an incredible experience. Emirates Business is great as well. And, what was the overall, like, what were your favorites of what you were able to do, see, and accomplish? Because obviously, if you're flying Emirates First, overnight when you're sleeping the whole time versus during the day, it's different. So let's talk about what was Emirates like?
Oh, Emirates was amazing. And I think I maybe slept 30 minutes because I was afraid of missing out on things. So when we got on board, I was trying to act cool. I was not probably, but my husband was. He was better. First class was actually pretty empty. It was only us and 2 to 3 other people. They were all Arab and it was Ramadan. Actually, the first day of Ramadan when we were flying. So we ended up getting kind of all the attention because they can't eat or drink. And I hate to say it, but my favorite part was probably the champagne.
The Dom.
The Dom Perignon, free-flowing Dom Perignon, the plenitude.
Yeah, the Dom. Yep.
Yeah, so champagne's kind of my drink of choice, and hit me up with some really great, not just Dom Perignon, but the plenitude, stuff I would never, ever buy, ever. I mean, and then caviar, dining on demand, the bathroom size, which shouldn't excite me, but huge bathroom just in general. I mean, pajamas, the amenity kit. And then the flight attendant came around and asked if we wanted to book a time to shower. My husband's like, no, thank you. I was like, no, we'll take these times. And he's like, why? I was like, dude, we have to shower at 40,000 feet. And so he's like, okay, whatever. That's fine.
No, that's awesome. You got the best experience there because you happened to be on the A380. I mentioned this on the show before. My Emirates flight on first class was actually back Malé to Dubai, and that was on the 777. So still have not taken a shower on a plane yet with our travels. So that's something that's still technically on the bucket list because our flight on the A380 was in business class, which I'm not knocking because it was fantastic. But first class is an incredible experience. The Dom flowing consistently, constantly the whole time is amazing. And I will say, my wife and I were actually just talking about this like 2 days ago. The pajamas are fantastic and they hold up so well. Like it's been a few years and I actually still use those pajamas pretty regularly around the house.
I had them on before the podcast.
Yes, they are absolutely fantastic.
Yes. And my husband was like, no, we don't need pajamas. And I was like, yeah, size small. And I'm like ordering him around. He's like, okay. And so they're playing with all the buttons. And yeah, I was trying to be cool, but I couldn't do it. I was taking pictures, door closing with everything opening up on the side. Yeah. Yeah. Like a kid in a candy store.
100% as you should. So that's our route to Dubai. Now, it sounds like your flight was that DC to Dubai was on the A380.
Yes.
Okay. And then your next leg, so Dubai to Malé, was that on the 777, the A380 again?
The 777. So it was going to be business class. And then as we got up, I was like, let's see if we can upgrade to first class. It's totally not worth it, probably for the points. But I was like, you know what? We got upgraded to domestic first class on American because my husband still has status with them. I don't as of the points and miles, all the things. Everything's been shifted now. But so I was like, you know what? Let's keep the whole like first class thing going and let's just see if we can get upgraded. And I transferred over the points and she said, well, we'll see. You'll get a notification on your phone. So we didn't get to go to the first class lounge in Dubai. So that part I did miss out on. But at the very last moment, they did upgrade us to first class and that was on the 777. So we got another pair of pajamas.
Very cool. When you landed in Dubai, did you have someone waiting for you to escort you through the airport in Dubai? I know that would have taken you to baggage claim. And the reason why I ask that is because for us, when we flew first class on the 777, although our next leg was business class on the A380. We had basically one of those golf carts. We had someone with a sign, took us to our own private golf cart, and they drove us all the way through the hotel and escorted us to the business class lounge where they dropped us off essentially. But it was really cool basically having someone there waiting for us when we got off the plane. I'm curious if you had the same experience when you got to Dubai.
I don't think so. Not that I remember, at least.
And I'm wondering if it's probably because that was like the kind of you get baggage claim.
And yeah, the stopover.
Exactly, because you have a stopover. So I was curious if that would have been a similar experience.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely no golf cart or anything like that, but I don't think anybody was there waiting for us. We just walked right to baggage claim, got our bag, got in the Uber, and left.
Hey everyone, quick break from the episode. If you're enjoying the show, make sure you're subscribed on whatever platform you're listening on so you never miss an episode. And if you've gotten any value so far, it would mean the world if you left a quick rating or review. It helps more people discover the show and keeps us motivated to keep creating great content. Also, if you're feeling stuck or want help with points and miles, whether it's picking your first card, planning a big redemption, or even having someone book it all for you, we've got you covered. There's a link in the show notes to schedule a free points and miles consultation. Just fill out a quick questionnaire, tell us your goals, and we'll take it from there. And don't forget, our newsletter and private Facebook group are great ways to stay on top of breaking news, updated card offers, and tips that don't always make it into the podcast. You'll find those links in the show notes as well. Now, back to the episode. Well, Kelly, where did you guys stay in the Maldives? This is your 20-year trip. You knew that there's a lot of points options in the Maldives, which there are. So can you tell us about where you stayed? What was the Maldives experience like for you?
Oh, it was amazing. We stayed at the Park Hyatt Maldives, which I know you stayed at too. And we were actually there for 9 nights. So we were there for quite a while. And it was 315,000 points. So I felt totally worth it because I looked at a few others. I kind of wanted to do the Conrad. I looked at a few different options. Thought about actually splitting up the stay, but then a lot of people were saying with just transferring, unless it was something that was a boat ride, it was going to be too much of a pain and an expense. So we ended up just staying there, and we did upgrade our room, and we switched we did the overwater like sunset, and then we switched to the deluxe beach pool villa it was a huge pool.
Yeah, it's a massive room and a massive pool. It's a huge setup.
I like that one better, actually. But so it was $450 at the time to upgrade to the overwater. And then it was like $700, a night to upgrade to the beach pool. So we did that one for 4 days, and the overwater was for 5 days.
I was going to ask you what your thought was, because you're one of the few people I know that has stayed in both, because I know that when we stayed there, we had the globalist treatment. So they went ahead and upgraded us, but with the beach villa. We had stayed previously in the Maldives in the overwater, and they're cool and all, but wasn't really wanting to do that again. And I know I've heard other people say that they really love the beach villas more than the overwater villas. But of course, the overwater villas is what gets all the appeal, and they look beautiful in pictures. So I'm curious, even if you didn't have the huge pool and all that, do you still think you would have preferred the beach villa versus the overwater?
I don't know. The pool was pretty nice. So I don't know. If there was no pool at all, I probably would have preferred the overwater.
Got it.
That's what we've done in Bora Bora every time we've gone, and we've loved it. And they usually have a pool actually on the balcony. But yeah, something about the beach villa. And granted, the beach is way better in Maldives than it is in Bora Bora. But I think the water is a little bit easier in Bora Bora because it's very isolated. There's not as much coral, so you can easily just jump off your deck. Yeah, that's a tough one. But yeah, I think I'd probably would pick overwater if I didn't have the big pool.
Okay. No, that's fair enough. Well, the other question I have for you is, so you didn't split the stay up. You did split kind of your rooms, but you stayed in the same place.
Yes.
I'd love an honest kind of response or assessment of, does it get kind of boring staying on one island for 9 days? Or were you like, hey, we had a lot to do, we were having fun the whole time? Because I could see for some people where being one place, because it's a fantastic resort, but you can't really go anywhere outside of excursions really, versus others being like, no, I love sitting put and not moving for 9 days. So I'm really curious for you, were you kind of getting to the point where like, all right, we're ready to go from here, or no, we could stay here another week if we wanted to?
So I have 2 modes. It's either go, 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 or sit and do nothing. There is almost no in between. So we were totally fine being in one spot for 9 days. And we did some excursions here and there, and we'd sleep in, go to breakfast, hang out on the beach, go back, take a nap. So I mean, we live very like stressful, busy lives. And so we were totally fine with sitting there for 9 days. But if you're someone who is not like that, then yes, you would go crazy, I think.
I think that's absolutely fair. Absolutely fair. Now, Kelly, on the route back, what did you fly? Because I know at some point you did something pretty cool. I don't know if it was this trip or another trip. I don't want to spoil it for the listeners, but how'd you get back home?
Well, once I started getting into points and miles, the transferable currencies, let's put it that way, I started a list of places I wanted to go, which I already had, but it compounds. That's a very bad part, especially about the WhatsApp group. It's not good for you. But I had my list of planes, and I actually had on there Etihad apartments, and then I had in parentheses the residence, and then like a laughing crying emoji. Like, okay, that's never going to happen. Because I thought the only way you could book it was actually just straight cash back in the day. So I get on to Etihad because I was like, I want to mix it up, even though it is cheaper to do Emirates round trip. I want to mix it up. We're not going to do this very often. It's hard for us to take off work because we have to, have to leave patients, all that. And so I got on, and it made it look like you could book straight into the residence with points, like the way that it was like set up. And so it was like 400,000 points. So we transfer over 400,000 points. We don't even think about this. Nothing, nothing's going on in the brain here, but we transfer over 400,000 points. I'm like, all right. And then I go to try to book it, and it's still for first class, the apartment. So don't get me wrong, it wasn't like wasted. And I go to check out, and it says the total, and it's over $7,000 if we want to upgrade to the residence with taxes and fees and everything. I was like, okay. I was like, so it's fine. We're still flying in the apartment, still first class. Yeah, I booked us in, I think it was like 3A and 4A where the partition comes down. So we would still be together. You can still do dining together, all that. Still have the shower, all the things. So I just checked out, paid the taxes and fees, which was only like $1,300, a little bit cheaper than Emirates is. And I was like, okay, we're done. And so my husband has no part of this, even though I made him transfer his miles over. So I book it, and I was like, he's like, so did you get it? And I was like, no. I was like, it was like $7,000. So I was like, it's fine though. It's fine. And then 5 days later, he's golfing since I used his account. He's golfing, and he gets a phone call, and they are asking if we want to upgrade to the residence. And they tell him it's $18,000.
Jesus.
And so I'm not there. That night we're hanging out in the hot tub, actually drinking champagne, and he's telling me about the phone call, and he's like, "I'm sorry, babe." He's like, "I really wanted to. I was hoping it was going to happen, so I took the phone call right away." And he was like, "But $18,000." Like, it took me a second. And I was like, "Wait, hold on, 18,000?" I was like, "No, there's no way." I was like, when I was checking out, it was like 7,000 with the taxes to upgrade. So I was like, "Hold on, did they say dollars?" And he's like, "They said dollars." And I'm like, "Okay." So I'm like, hold. And so I run inside real fast, grab my phone, grab his wallet, and go back outside. And I'm like, let's do the conversion real fast. Cause like, I think that they were talking about like Arab, like the,
DRMs or something like that. Yep.
yes. And so I was like, I think that's what they were talking about. He's like, no, they said dollars. I was like, there's just no way. And so I do the calculation. I'm like, okay, that'd be like $5,000. So it's a little bit cheaper. It's actually $1,000 cheaper than what it would have been once you take out the tax and fees. So it would have been 1,000. It was like $1,000 cheaper than if I checked out right away and done it. So I was like, let's call and see. So he calls the number back, and then sure enough, it was like $4,991 for us to upgrade to the residence. And he's like, you know what? It's our 20th anniversary. It's for some reason a weird dream of yours. So let's do it. So he booked it.
I love that. I absolutely love that because when else would this have happened? I mean, I absolutely love that. I know some people are listening like, oh my God, that's a lot to pay, but
It is.
it's incredible. I mean, it's almost a once in a lifetime opportunity. Almost.
Yes. And I don't know if it's going away. You never know. So, I mean, things change so quickly. I think they had taken it away for a while, if I'm not mistaken, and then brought it back. So, we were already flying almost for free, staying almost for free because we didn't have to upgrade our rooms. Actually, I don't even think we had upgraded our room at the time. So we're like, might as well 20 years. we budget pretty well. I do crazy spreadsheets for everything, so I'm very Dave Ramsey-ish in that sense. No, credit card strategy, he would kill me, but
Factual statement there. So I love that because I think it's really good to unpack that points and miles isn't always about the fact that you have to be able to have this nearly free aspect of travel. And this is why the podcast is called Revolutionizing Your Journey. It's about changing the way that you travel so that you can do it and have experiences that you've never had before or would have never had before. So because you've saved a ton through using points for your stay and your flights, that opened up your budget to do a lot of really cool things that you likely would not have come across before you really clicked into the world of points and miles, or at least wouldn't have done on this level to where it's like, hey, we would have spent $5,000 or actually more than that for just a couple of nights at the Park Hyatt Maldives, right? Like the cost of a lot of the things that you did, just your economy tickets round trip there and back to the Maldives probably would have been closer to $4,000 alone. I mean, your budget was opened up massively because of points and miles. And I think that's where that can, even if someone hears this and they may be more of a budget traveler, I think it's important to know, no matter what your budget is, points and miles can do incredible things. Even if you are someone who's extremely wealthy and can write a check for almost anything, points and miles can still have a fit where you're likely to do something that you likely would not have done before.
yeah, I completely agree. I mean, because we travel and we travel usually in business class. We stay in very nice hotels. My husband will deny, but he is very bougie when it comes to hotels. I'm like, hey, here's the, Holiday Inn, whatever. I don't care. And he's like, no, 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 we're staying here instead. I'm like, okay, yes, dear. So staying in a place like Park Hyatt I mean, I say nearly free, but we paid $1,500 a night for each night we were in Bora Bora at least. And we've done that 3 times. So like we will spend money. Of course, we budget for it, and flying there would be free, but it would take an entire year of putting everything from his business, my business, our side business, personal on that card to get there. Whereas now it's like, you want to go to Iceland? We can go to Iceland. So we did.
There you go. Absolutely love that. Now, I want to clarify a couple of things because I know that you flew home on Etihad, but you had mentioned earlier in the show that you booked Emirates round trip. So what happened with the round trip aspect?
No, I just calculated it for round trip because I know that Emirates is cheaper. So when I was trying to figure out the total that we had saved,
Gotcha.
a lot of places or a lot of airlines, it's one way is pretty much what you get. But Emirates, I know it's cheaper round trip.
Got it. Got it. So a little bit more of a clearer assessment there. Love that. Okay. So we flew the resident. Well, actually, we just talked about how you just booked the residence. We didn't even talk about the residence, and you're the first person to be on the show to talk that not just to talk about the residence. I think maybe that has actually flown the residence as well. So I want to hear from you firsthand, Callie. What was the residence like? Because I know the Emirates first class experience, and I can't really imagine better, but I know the residence is somehow better. So tell me about it.
So, well, again, it starts at the airport, like you said. So we had left really early in the morning to get into Abu Dhabi. And we went to the Grand Mosque and we were going to do, a few things, but we were both so exhausted from waking up so early that we were like, okay, well, let's just go back to the airport. They probably won't let us into the lounge yet because, I mean, it is like 12 hours until our flight leaves. It's like 3 p.m. Our flight leaves at almost 3 a.m. And I was like, well, I don't care. I will sleep on a chair. I will sleep on the floor. I don't care right now. I'm so tired. So we went, and there's a special like first class residence like check-in area at Abu Dhabi. And we had to actually wait for somebody to come because there was no flights leaving. So we were kind of just chilling. Actually, I fell asleep on the couch, I'm going to be honest. But then they come out and we give them our names and they're like, oh, okay. So, you guys are flying the residence. We're like, yeah, uh-huh. And they're okay. Usually we have the general manager come down, but they're like, just give me a few moments. I'm like, okay, I'm fine. I'm not going anywhere. I'm like, literally, I was dead asleep. It's a private little room, just for the check-in. So that alone was private. You can do a chauffeur, which is free, but since we were out touring, I wouldn't even know where to have a chauffeur pick us up at. And you have to schedule that ahead of time. So if we'd been staying in Abu Dhabi, that would have been different. So they come back. I don't know how much later. It felt like a while, like 30 minutes, and the guy takes us up in an elevator, like a private elevator. We walk in and he's like, okay, well, here's your room, which I knew about the room. I didn't think they were going to let us in though, because it's again, 12 hours before our flight. So was not expecting to go into the private room. And so he shows us the private room, but that's what they were doing is they were getting it all set up. So we walk in, there's a big bowl of like all this fresh cut fruit. They already have a bottle of champagne, like they know me. There's a shower there, which I was very grateful for after walking around in Abu Dhabi for a while. And they were like, okay, well, here's some menus. So we had like our own butler who kept coming to check on us. We did sleep on the couch in there. There's not a bed or anything, but there is a couch. So we both fell asleep in there because we were, again, exhausted. But we showered, ate. It was kind of dining on demand as well. You get free 30-minute like spa treatment, whatever you pick. So we got free 30-minute massages. Someone escorted us everywhere. It was probably the closest I'll ever feel to royalty or like a celebrity ever. Yeah, it was amazing.
So an incredible private room experience, and then you get into the residence. And I think actually it'd be really great because obviously the people that have been around Points and Miles for a while, they know what the residence is when they hear that. And I think it'd be great to talk through what is the residence and how does it compare with the apartment, which on its own sounds pretty incredible to hear of, oh, we flew on the apartment on the plane, but you flew the residence. So can you talk a little bit about what that actually is?
So the residence is actually like a 3-room, almost like a real apartment in the sky. It's got a living room with a big TV. It has its own bathroom with a shower and a bedroom. And it's all yours. And you have your own private butler. The apartments themselves are like a big couch and then the other side of that where almost like where your feet would go, but not really because it's too far away. That turns into a bed. So in the apartments, and then they still have a shower too. So even the apartments are amazing and very private from what I've seen online. I actually didn't see them in person. We went right to the residence and we never left. I never saw another person on the plane.
Wow, that's such an incredible experience. So, private lounge in the airport, taken directly into the residence, and in the residence, it's so large.
Oh, via golf cart too.
Oh, and yes, golf cart.
Golf cart through the airport. I was actually embarrassed and then again felt kind of like a celebrity because we were clearly not elderly or in any kind of hurry. But and then when we got there, they put us into like a different lounge that had things roped off and it said private. I don't know. It was very like above and beyond.
That's awesome. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and then they ask if you want to board first or last, and so I was like first. Like I want to be in there as long as I can. And so yeah, I mean, again, we never saw another person. We never left our little 3-room place. Why would we?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I believe the residence literally has its own bathroom and shower, but I think the apartments, it's like on Emirates where they share a shower. Correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's another great thing too is I could get up and just go to the bathroom whenever I wanted to. I didn't have to worry about if anybody else was in there, anything like that. So yeah, it was great. And then we could go sleep. There's a bed and it has a TV in there as well in the bedroom, so you could go sleep. We could watch movies together, eat together. If one of us was tired and one wasn't, one could go sleep. And then there's like a whole another door that goes to the bedroom, so it's even like more private and quieter than even the residence was.
Kelly, you had an insane level of aspirational travel here within your first 2 years of this higher end level of Points and Miles. And I think it goes to show that anything's possible with this career. Now, I do think it also makes sense that you guys have businesses where you are might be very different than someone that's in Points and Miles that might be a single mom that's working more of a 9 to 5, right? Every one of us has a different kind of background we come from. And I experience this a lot as a financial advisor with the clients that I work with. So while all of our experiences are different, it is still fantastic and amazing that you're able to have such an incredible ramp up and it's such an incredible experience overall. Can you share a little bit? I want to transition as we start to wrap up here about your earning strategy, maybe your card setup. And obviously, I know you said your velocity has been pretty high, so we don't have to go through all the cards that you have, obviously. But what's been some of your strategy on how you've been earning points kind of at a high level, especially with your husband? I know he's enjoyed some of these travels, but how engaged is he in the points world at this level? Has it increased with the experiences or more so just kind of like, hey, whatever you want, we'll do? So what's been your earning strategy at this point?
So I go more for, well, cards that I plan on keeping. Now, not all the time, but if they have a really great sub, then I will sign up for that card because we can meet almost any minimum spend pretty quickly. I will say the Capital one, the last one, the Business Venture X, that one was about the only one that actually took me the entire time. Most of the time I can meet a sub in like 2 weeks. Unfortunately, I'm not sure, but with high business and personal spend. But I focus on cards that are going to get me good value, one that have strong multipliers and ones that have good subs as well, which I'm sure is what most people do.
Got it. That's perfect. And so, how willing of a P2 is your husband now at this stage? And was it the experiences that opened him up a little bit more, or did he kind of dive right in with all the cards and all the things?
He dove right in, but not to my level. He's not like researching cards. He's not researching all that. I'm just like, oh, by the way, I got you a new card today, and then I hand it to him, and he's like, okay. But I've offered to manage him for him, but he will do all that himself, I guess. But he's not reluctant by any means, but he's not, I'm going to say, as enthusiastic as I am about it. But no, he's been great. He's opened up a ton of cards. Well, okay, I've opened up a ton of cards for him, but he's gone along with it and hasn't divorced me yet. So that's good.
I love that. Well, I mean, a 20-year anniversary trip of that magnitude, I would say it's a benefit to stick around. I'll say that for sure. Kelly, this has been absolutely fantastic. So you've had these incredible trips. I know you went kind of all out for the 20th anniversary, but I know just like the rest of our community, traveling is now a little bit less of we can only do this once a year, and now a little bit more of a fluid cycle of things. So I'm curious, what is next for us to expect or see from your travels in the future? What are some of your exciting redemptions you're either working on figuring out or already have booked here over the next year, maybe?
So next year, so my daughter right now is a senior in high school, and she is my best friend other than my husband. I love my son too, but boys, whatever.
Fair.
And so we are taking an around the world trip. We booked the ANA around the world trip right before it ended. I'm talking, it ended like Monday. I booked it Saturday.
Wow.
So we are doing that for 3.5 weeks. I have not quite figured out about my whole business running without me for 3.5 weeks, but that's next year's problem. And I've already booked everything. And so far I've only spent $2,000 and everything else has been on points. I mean, we're talking taxes and everything for all the flights. So still have some more to book, but yeah, so that's what's coming up in May/June. And then I also did book the Grand Hotel Victoria. Haven't booked flights yet. Haven't told my husband yet for next September. And that's about it right now. Yeah.
That's super cool. And the ANA, the fact that you're able to jump on that is absolutely incredible. For those that don't know, that was available for years and years. It's probably one of the best deals in points and miles, because essentially from anywhere from around 105,000 to 150,000 ANA miles, which would be transferred from Amex. So let's just say Amex points, you could actually have a literal around the world ticket that could go essentially up to, I think, 12 stopovers, up to a time frame of up to a year to hit all of them, as long as you go in one continuous direction around the world. And I'm curious, actually, Kelly, did you book that all on your own, or did you use, I know there's some groups out there that they'll do it for you. We've had on the show the Point Sisters. They were on the show really early on the podcast. They had a service where they would book this for people. Or did you actually navigate and figure it out yourself? Because that was a pretty daunting level of redemption, because of the fact that you had to be on hold with ANA for 2 hours just to even try to do it.
4.5 hours.
Jesus. Okay.
Uh-huh. Because I think everybody was trying to get in at the last moment. So I think that normally it probably would have been 2 hours. I actually did contact the Point Sisters, but they were I think probably just too busy with everybody trying to get in. And so my friend Nora, who I roped into Points and Miles, she's not quite as crazy as I am, but she's there. She's a single mom. So she, is a lot slower with opening up cards than I am. So she helped me figure it out. She's really good at the redemption side of things. So she was trying to help me figure it out. And then I'm on the phone. We thought we had things mapped out perfectly. And then the agent's like, that flight's gone now. I'm like, And so the ANA agent helped walk me through where I could go. I was like, because I really was like, hey, I'm booking this super last minute. I was going to do it at some point in my life. Just wasn't planning on it being now. And I was like, I decided to do it. My daughter is going to be leaving for college soon. So I found someone who is willing to go around the world with me, because my husband could not take off work that long. And I was like, I don't care where we go. So I was very open with just tell me and I'll figure it out from there. And so she kind of was like, okay, we can stop here. I was like, okay, this is great. So
Kelly, this has been absolutely fantastic. You've done an incredible amount of points, travel, and bookings at really the highest levels there are out there in a short amount of time. I think that goes to show what can happen when you learn how to funnel the right type of expenses to credit cards in a reasonable and manageable way. B, doing your research, and C, as you had mentioned, the WhatsApp community can kind of ruin you because we have a lot of great communication, a lot of great feedback and chatter in there. And then someone like Kelly goes out and throws in photos of aspirational trips that we're all like, well, gosh, now we got to do it too. So we're going to figure out how to make these things happen. But Kelly, it's been absolutely a blast having you on the show. Where can the listeners either follow you or follow your practice or whatever it is that you want them to follow at all?
so on Instagram at Dr. K Blair. Simple.
Very cool. We'll make sure to link that in the show notes for sure. And then before we wrap up, a couple last things that we always like to ask. First off is, who next do you think we should have on the show?
So I don't know if you could get him because I think he's very busy, but Richard Kerr, do you know who he is?
I do know Richard Kerr with Build.
Yes.
Yeah, I've met him in person, and we've talked in person about him coming on the show, and I'm still waiting for that email to get responded back to. So we'll see if we can get him on the show in a future episode.
Okay.
Perfect. So, but Richard built a great suggestion. We'll try to get him on the show. Kelly, before we wrap this up, you've had a lot of really, and then this is an episode about aspiration, like what can be done and showing like points and miles to the highest level. Any final thoughts at all before we wrap this one up?
I will say at first it might seem daunting, but just keep reading, and that your WhatsApp community is a great place to reach out for help because everybody is very like nice and helpful. There's no, I don't know, cattiness. No one seems to put you down. Like on some other groups can seem a little bit more daunting because again, I've been down the rabbit hole. So I think just asking for help, asking questions is a big thing. And I mean, anybody can do it. Yeah, it might be at a slower pace than what I've done, which hopefully it is at a slower pace than what we've done. But yeah, I think anybody can do it. It just takes a little bit of like research, a little bit of patience, and asking for help.
Absolutely. Well, Kelly, I want to thank you for being an active part in the WhatsApp community chat because you are active in not just the open kind of general chat, but also in our separate Zill Money on credit card chat as well. I know that's been a big player for you with earning points. I assume many of the points that you've racked up have come from kind of the payroll processing that you guys have done as well. And so really appreciate you being in the chat, being active, not only being active, but even volunteering to be one of our community admins as well, which thankfully we do have a really, really healthy and great chat. So outside of the random spam bot that gets in, thankfully we haven't had to be too busy from an admin side, but really just want to thank you again for being on the show today. I think this was really insightful, really interesting, and also honestly made me really jealous. So I love it. It was great.
Now you have to shower in the sky.
Now I have to shower in the sky. That is the one thing I feel like with all my time and experience and points and miles, the one thing I haven't done yet. And well,
Come on, Tyrion, get on him.
there we go. There you go. She's going to love that. Perfect, Kelly. Thanks so much for being on the show today.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. For listeners out there, if you love this episode today, be sure to follow us on all social media channels and sign up for our newsletter and our private Facebook group, as well as when you do that, that's how you can find the information for our WhatsApp community chat, where you can connect with other amazing individuals and points and miles enthusiasts like Kelly as well. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, do all the things, leave a rating, and we will catch you on the next episode. Take care, everybody.